confidence, creativity, hard work, courage, time, very important. You don't rush into success. So success is really an integration of a number of principles we're going to talk about tonight. I want to talk about these 10 keys or these 10 laws of success that I have used in my own life. And these keys or laws are immutable. They are also universal, and they can work anywhere in the world. These laws have no respect for your ethnic background, your pigmentation. They have no respect for your family upbringing or your culture, because laws are universal. They work for anyone if you learn them. Now, when we talk about success, I want to quickly define success for you so that you don't think that success is something else. Everybody wants to be successful, correct? I mentioned to you in my last few sessions that success is predictable, failure is predictable. And the reason why success and failure are predictable is because everything was designed to function by laws. And laws make things predictable. Laws make life predictable. Write that down. All life is predictable because of laws. And the reason why everything has laws attached to it is because God created everything to succeed. And that success is related to God's reputation. He wants to protect his reputation through his creation. Whatever God created is supposed to work. It's supposed to succeed. Whether it's a bird flying or a fish swimming or a tree bringing, its fruit, everything has to work by laws. That means you were designed by God as God's number one highest creation. Which means that then God has to create some laws by which you succeed to make his reputation successful. In other words, success is good for God. Now, success is not a pursuit. This is important. If you want to be successful in life, don't try to be successful in life. People are failures because they try to be successful. Successful people didn't try to be successful. They simply followed some laws. In other words, success is a result of obedience to laws. What did I say? Talk loud back to me. What did I say? Write that down and tweet that to somebody right now. Hashtag MYLES Munroe. Success is what? A result. It's not a pursuit. In other words, success is a byproduct of an activity that you are involved in. LeBron James had no desire to be successful. He desired to be the best player, that's all. So he followed some rules. Last night, I heard them interview him after the Miami basketball team won by 20 points. And they asked him a question. They said, "How did you do it?" He said, "Well, we had a few days off. And instead of resting, we spent all the time on the gym shooting." In other words, on their break, they were working. What was he doing? He was following one of the laws. Hard work even when you're off. He was telling us that his success is not something he desired to pursue, but rather he was more concerned about working a law. So that's important to understand. What is success? Let me define a couple of thoughts for you. First of all, success is not what you've done compared to what others have done. Why? Because you'll always find somebody less than you and better than you. So you can actually claim to be the first in the class and still be a poor student. I remember that happened to me when I was a kid. in Western Prep School here in the Bahamas. I ran home and I was so excited. I got 48 on the test. 48. And I got the top mark in the class. I ran home and showed my mother my exams, my test. And my mother punished me. She said, you got first in the class at 48. Two things has to happen. Number one, the teacher need to be fired. And number two, you are disgraced. That means everybody got less than 48. She said, 48 out of what? And that was the question. 48 out of what? See, success is not measured by what you've done compared to others. Success is measured by what you've done compared to what you were supposed to do. You were supposed to get 100. So 58 at the top of the class is failure because 100 was supposed to be success. So success is not measured by what you've done compared to what the others have done. It's measured by what you've done compared to what you should have done. In essence, success is the fulfillment of the original assignment or purpose for which the entire test was given. Your life, therefore, is measured by why God created you, not what you've done. Let me try it again. Your success in your life is not measured by what you've done, but by why God created you compared to what you've done. In other words, you could be a complete failure and everybody else thinks you are successful because you didn't do what God purposed for your life. Conclusion then is that success is simply fulfillment and completion of original purpose. The purpose for the exam is for me to get 100%. I got 48. So according to the examiner, even though I got the highest score, everybody failed, including me. Because the issue is not my comparison to the others who got less than me, but my comparison to what I was supposed to have gotten. The purpose for the class was 100%. Everybody still with me? Yeah. So success in your life is first of all discovering why did God create you? What was the assignment, the purpose for your birth? Why did you come into the world? And this is really the key to measuring your success in life. That's why God measures success this way. Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11. He says, I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you future and what? Hope. To give you a future and a hope. God has a future, a mark up ahead of you that's supposed to be what you reach. If you don't make it to the future that God intended for you, no matter how many people celebrated you, you are a failure. So success is measured by the future for which you was conceived. Ecclesiastes chapter 10 verse 10 says, if the axe is dull and the edge is unsharpened, much strength is needed. But with skill, success comes quickly. I love that verse. If the axe is dull means that if you don't know and understand the laws and the keys and the principles of success, you will work hard like a dull axe and still not get the tree cut down. You won't accomplish what you were born to do. So life is not really just about working hard, it's about working skillfully, smartly. And the only way to work smartly is to have knowledge of the law. Skill has to do with knowing the laws. A skillful mechanic can fix your car in 1 hour. You can sit by your car and be angry for 2 days. What's the difference between you and the mechanic? He knows the laws of the mechanics, right? So he can fix your car. So you can work hard and still be a failure if you don't know the laws. So what is the laws we talk about? Why do we call it the keys to success? Jesus Christ said these words concerning living in his kingdom, Matthew 16 verse 19. He says, I will give you the keys, notice the plural word, of the kingdom. Whatever you lock up on earth will be locked up in heaven. Let me explain what that means. He said, I'm going to give you some laws. Keys are laws, principles. He said, with these principles, you can stop things from happening or you can start things to happen. And whatever you stop when you use these keys, heaven will back you up. And whatever you allow, heaven will back you up. In other words, you control on earth what heaven does. Wow. I'm going to give you the laws, he says, by which you can actually bring heaven to earth. You can cause heaven to act on your behalf on earth. So whatever you start or stop depends on the laws that you disobey or obey. You can shut down things or open up things depending on the laws you obey or disobey. Is that clear? He's giving us really, notice he says, heaven will do what you do, which means that he's telling us that this ain't up to God. Success is not up to God. It's up to you. If you don't know the keys, God can't help you. If you know the keys, God will help you. Why? Because God is a God of laws. He responds to laws. Just like any manufacturer, you obey the laws of the manufacturer, they guarantee the product will operate. They support their product because you keep the law. So God says, I will give you the keys, I will give you the principles, the systems, the concepts by which we shall have success. Now, I want you to think about this. Now, success, as I said, is not really something you pursue. It is a journey. It is a process. You will have success at increments on your way to your ultimate purpose. Success has more to do with moving in the right direction than coming to a destination. Success really is a process, not really a destination. When you make it based on the process to your ultimate purpose, then you are what you would call fulfilled, or you fulfilled the assignment. If I got an A on that test, I would have fulfilled the assignment of the one who said the test. Maybe God does spank us when we bring 48% home. We are proud of something God's ashamed of. We tell God, look how good I've done. God says, you should see what you could have done. You settled for this? You call this special? You call this success? You embarrass me, he says. And that's why I'm going to share with you the difference between laws and rules. Very important. The secret to success, Joshua 1, verse 8. God told Joshua the secret to success. Here it is. He says, keep this book of the law on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will make your way prosperous, and you will have good success. God gave the responsibility of success to you, not to him. Read that verse again. God says, it's up to you, Joshua, whether you succeed or fail. And it depends on what? What do you see there? Come on, say it loud. What does it depend on? Laws. Yeah, thank you very much. Laws. I told you that success is predictable. You could actually reverse this verse. Let us reverse it, okay? If you do not keep this book of the law on your lips, and do not dwell in it day and night and meditate, and do not be careful to do everything in it, then you will make your way a failure and poor. Am I right? Yeah, it's reversed. It's predictable. So if you don't know the laws and don't obey them, then you can't pray for success. No one has ever been successful because someone prayed for them or because they prayed for it. Success is a result of obedience to laws. Am I clear? Okay. Why are laws so important? You can deal with this real quickly. Write this down. The key to life is order. Order comes from law. The source of law brings order. When you obey laws, you bring order to your life. The ultimate law, therefore, of life is law, because there's nothing more important than law. What does law do? Laws protect, sustain, preserve, they guard, and they promote life. If you obey laws, they'll protect you, they will guard you, they will preserve you, they will sustain you, and in the end, they'll promote you. If you always do what's right, I guarantee you, you will emerge to the top eventually. People who take shortcuts, people who sell drugs become rich, or people who sell their bodies to pay their bills, or people who compromise in their jobs to get ahead, don't worry about them. Don't be jealous of them. They will fail. They will fail. Because you cannot break a law Laws break you. Write this down, please. Without law, there's no definition in life. Laws define things. You put a seed on a tile floor and leave it there for 20 years, the seed will stay there and no tree will come forth. Why? Because you violated the law of the seed. So the laws define what the seed must do. You must put it in soil, you must give it moisture, there must be light, or sunshine or somewhere, otherwise the seed will never bring forth the tree. So you can pray over a seed for 20 years in the lobby on the tile floor. Your prayer, speaking in tongues, quoting scripture over that thing, casting demons out, will not bring that tree or that seed. Because laws cannot be substituted by prayer. Prosperity doesn't come by prayer. If you obey my laws and keep them, meditate on them, you will make your way prosperous. Prosperity doesn't come by prayer. It comes by keeping laws. Some of the laziest people in the world are Christians. And somehow their Christianity makes them lazy. They want God to do magic. These people are wicked. They look for miracles all the time. And we know what happened when those people asked Jesus Christ for a miracle. They asked him one time, show us miracles. He said, only a wicked and adulterous generation seek miracles. In other words, shortcuts. One of the greatest temptations the devil levied on Jesus Christ was this temptation. He took him to the highest pinnacle and said, jump. That was a shortcut. He said, you won't dash your foot against a stone. You won't hurt yourself. In other words, take a shortcut. Don't go through all that stuff about the cross and, all the pain and the crucifixion and going to hell and rise. He said, look, let's just get over it. You jump now, they'll believe you. And guess what? That was the biggest temptation, That was the biggest one. Because Jesus said after that, why tempt the Lord thy God? In other words, the bread and the power was okay. But this one, he said, this was temptation. The shortcut. The longest way to success is the shortcut. Tweet that to someone now. What did I say? The longest way to success is a shortcut. Shortcuts means you violate laws. The Bible calls it trespassing. If you cut across somebody's yard instead of going around the main road, you call it a shortcut, don't you? But what are you doing? Trespassing. And Christ says, forgive us our trespasses. Forgive us from trying to make life quick without going through the process of laws. Forgive us for trying to get quick schemes. And that's why people get into problems with business. People offer them all kind of quick, get rich quick stuff. Sell this or do that. That's why gambling is really demonic. Not because you can't gamble, but because gambling encourages shortcuts. And a person who gambles, I guarantee you, they will always be poor. Even if they win once, they can be poor. Don't violate law. Now, I want to show you the difference between natural law and supernatural laws. Write them down. Number one, natural law is inherent in creation. That means it's built into creation. Number two, natural law establishes natural order. Number three, natural law regulates natural relationships. Notice the word natural is from the word nature. Natural, nature. Yeah, it's built into nature. Natural law cannot be changed. Natural law is built in consequences. In other words, natural law doesn't need God to punish you when you violate it. For example, gravity is a natural law. If you jump off a 10-story building, God doesn't need to kill you. Why? Because the consequences of breaking the law is built into the law. Can I suggest to you that God really doesn't judge you? The laws he established judges you. Natural law has built-in consequences. Next, natural law has inherent judgment. Again, it tells us that it's predictable. If you keep smoking cigarettes, we don't need to wonder what happens to your lungs. You keep drinking alcohol, we can predict what happens to your liver. There's no question about that. Your liver is given to you to purify the blood in your body. If your body is filled with alcohol in the blood that you drink, the liver takes it out of the blood and keeps it. The alcohol burns the cells in the liver because of acidity, and it becomes fried. It called cirrhosis of the liver. Now you end up with a fried liver that can't purify your blood anymore, and the liver poisons you. The thing that's supposed to keep you pure becomes your poison. Why? Because the liver was never designed to extract alcohol. So you broke a law. It's built-in judgment. God has never killed a smoker. God has never killed an alcoholic. God has never killed a drug addict. Never. God never makes you poor. You mismanage funds, buy things you can't afford, buy things you don't need. There's a law. There's a judgment built in. It's a law. Spiritual laws are very important. I just gave you natural law. Spiritual laws, number one, are established by God, the Creator. And this is important. In other words, natural law and spiritual law have nothing to do with you. They're established by the Creator. You didn't create gravity. God's wonderful design of the universe created gravities. Secondly, spiritual law establishes your conscience. There is a law in your body called the conscience. It's in your mind. No one has to tell you when you're doing wrong. There's a law in your body that tells you. You know when you ate too much. You know when you ate something that ain't good for you. The person who's smoking the cigarette knows the cigarette is bad. Their conscience tells them this is bad. But the habit controls them. Your conscience is a natural spiritual law. And number three, spiritual laws are inherent in the human spirit. All of us know sin. Even the guy who doesn't know God knows when he's breaking the law. There are laws built into our spirit being. Number four, spiritual laws regulate supernatural relationships. For you to relate to God, you have to obey some spiritual laws. First, submission. You got to submit to God. God can't help you if you ain't submit. Number two, you have to confess that you don't know nothing. That's a spiritual law. If you come to God as if you know everything, then why do you need God? That's a law. A law of submission, not just of your body, but of your mind and your intelligence. And the last one, spiritual law is built-in consequences. The wages of sin is death. So when your forefather Adam sinned, God didn't put death on him. Death was built into the law. Let me quote God's word. God says, the day you eat this fruit, you will surely die. He didn't say the day you eat this fruit, I will kill you. The dying was in the act of eating the fruit. In other words, disobedience has its own built-in consequences. God don't need to judge us. So that's how powerful laws are. Laws are so powerful. They have their own inherent judgment. You may think, for example, you're getting away with some private things God don't know about. God knows everything. He sees what you're doing when no one's watching. And God has given you some opportunity to sort this thing out because eventually it's going to destroy you. And if you're having an affair with sin, flirting with sin privately, secretly, God don't worry about you. And God don't even judge you. It's built into the act. Laws are inherent. Now, the reason why I showed you that is because I want you to see the difference between laws and rules, because there's a difference between the two, and it affects your success. Write this down. Law is the inherent principles that regulate nature of life and relationships in God's creation. I'm giving you a definition of law. Law defined is inherent principles, that means the built-in principles, that regulate the nature of life and relationships within creation. For example, the tree relates to the soil because of a law. They have a relationship. If the tree breaks relationship with the soil, no one has to kill it. The judgment is built in it. The fish must relate to the water. They got to get along real well. If the fish decides, I don't like you no more water, you don't need to kill the fish. Dies. God never killed Adam. God says, look, your relationship with me depends on you not touching that tree. I ain't going to kill you, but if you violate that tree, that means the commandment of God. It's not the tree, it's the fact that God told him not to touch it, the law. He says, I don't need to kill you, you will die. When a fish leaves water, you never kill it, it dies. When a plant leaves soil, you don't kill it, it dies. When a man leaves God, you don't kill him, he dies. Is that clear? So the relationship is determined by the laws. How many of you drink gasoline? Let me see your hand. You drink gasoline? Let me see your hand. Anyone drink gasoline? Hold your hand up. Anyone love gasoline? You like to drink it? Hold your hand. Nobody? Oh, come on. You mean you actually go to a station every other week to buy this stuff, spend your money on? You don't like it? You actually do something you don't like? Yes. The question is why? See, you should do many things you don't like, because in order for you to get some function, you need to keep that relationship with the gas station. You relate to that station because you want your car to function. So there's a law. The law says cars need gasoline, and the station has it. So you got to develop a relationship with the station constantly for the rest of your car's life. If you decide one day, I ain't never going back to the station, car says, then I ain't never driving no more. So you shut it down. So laws create relationship. Very important. Number two, laws are both natural and supernatural, both physical and spiritual, to guarantee maximum fulfillment of purpose and potential. In other words, God created all the laws to work in your favor. The problem in life is simple, you know. We don't know the laws. So we come to life experimenting, guessing, hoping things work out. My real simple job for the rest of my life, the reason why I am doing what I do, the reason why you call me maybe a pastor or teacher, it's a simple job I have. My job is to teach you the laws. Every day I get up, I just teach laws. You know, this ain't nothing about anointing and all that deep stuff. This really is about laws. You can have an anointed fool teaching foolishness. You got some good preachers who ain't know nothing but the laws. They make you shout, ha, 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 ha. In the end, you didn't learn nothing. No laws, you just had a good sweat. You're still broke, poor, depressed, frustrated, don't know how to succeed, and you've been going there for 50 years. Because it's not the preaching that sets you free. It's the truth of the laws that set you free. And that's why we have this class. This class is about law. Let's talk about the law of nature. Law is essential to life. Law is necessary for all relationships. And the concept of need is the concept of law. Write that down. Need creates law. Your car needs gasoline, so there's a law established by the need. The fish need water, so there's a law established by the need. The plant needs the soil. So there's a law started by the need. You don't want God. You need God. That's why you come back to God. People think that coming to God is a religious experience or something. No, it isn't. It's you catching your senses, that's all. Without God, you can do what? Nothing, the Bible says. Without the water, the fish can do nothing. Without the soil, the plant can do nothing. Without God, you can do nothing, he says. This is not a matter of choice. It's a matter of need. You don't want God. Fish don't want water. It's a law. Write this down. Plants need soil. Fish need water. Birds need the air, the freedom. Trees need carbon dioxide. They don't want it. And humans need oxygen. Now the problem with this is humans don't produce oxygen. And they need it to live. So there's a law. The humans got to protect the trees. That's a law. Every time you kill a tree, you're threatening your own life. So this is why governments are actually fining people who are cutting the forest. Because they are about to destroy human life on earth. And so actually there are countries like Guyana or Brazil or Colombia where the largest amount of trees exist in the world. They call it the Amazon forest. That is really an oxygen factory. So the United Nations is actually paying these countries not to cut trees down. Isn't that amazing? Maybe the Bahamas should start a new industry, tree planting. You can plant so many trees on these islands that they will pay you to keep the trees. Because the trees are the manufacturers of oxygen which we need. Law. In other words, law can bring you money if you understand the laws. All right. Challenging laws. Now, when you challenge laws, you put yourself in a predicament. And I'm going to make a statement now. Please buy this CD, everyone, because what I'm saying is the key to your life. This whole CD is important for you to get. I'm teaching you stuff that took me 45 years to learn, and I'm giving it to you in 45 minutes. Write this down. Humans are the only created beings that willfully, intentionally violate natural and physical laws. We are the only creatures that do it. Fish never leave water. Plants never leave the soil. They don't challenge the law. We are the only creatures God created that question the law, challenge it, violate it, intentionally, willfully walk away from it. We are amazing creatures. And that's why there is global failure all over the world. In every culture, every race, every ethnic group, people are failing by the billions because they disobey laws intentionally. All other created things submit to law. They obey natural law and spiritual law. You know, do you remember Lucifer? Lucifer was created as a cherub. Cherub. A cherub is an angel that was created by God to carry out certain responsibilities. For example, there are 3 cherubim that we know of. Cherubim is a plural word. Cherub means singular. There are 3 cherubim. One we know of is Michael. Right? The Bible talks about Michael. The second one we know about is Gabriel. It's a cherub. And the third one we know about was Lucifer. Now, all 3 of them was created by God for a specific purpose. Let me give you the purpose for each one. The Bible talks about it. Michael was created by God to be a warrior. He's a warrior. So any time God wanted some angel to fight, it was always Michael who showed up. Gabriel never was called to fight anybody. Gabriel was created by God to be director of communications. Every government needs a military, they need a Department of Communications, and they need a Minister of Culture. Guess who that was? Lucifer, in charge of culture. Music, sound. Okay. If you study the Bible, whenever there was warfare that was needed, Michael showed up. Remember when Daniel was praying? Who showed up? Michael. Do you know who cast Satan out of heaven? The Bible says Michael. He's the fighter. Whenever God wanted someone to bring a message, Michael never showed up. It was always Gabriel. In every place there's a message coming from God, Gabriel showed up. It was Gabriel who came to Mary.